and welcome to For the Love of Nature, a podcast where we tell you everything you need to know about nature and probably more than you wanted to know. I'm Laura.
And I'm Katy, and today we're going to be talking about how some units of measure need more explanation than others.
Which sounds like really lame and boring, but it's not going to be.
It's not, I swear. So you guys know we've said all sorts of ways to measure things in the past, like jokingly. And
At
it's
least
always
our
been
past
in
listeners,
passing.
yeah.
Yes, and it's always been in passing. And so we've looked up the origins and the backgrounds of some different sayings and to try and see... Just to explain them. I didn't have any nature news, but I feel like I should talk about something.
Things going on in the news with nature. I mean, all the crazy stuff that's been happening in zoos.
Oh yeah, that we should discuss because
should.
I'm right in the thick of it down here in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, we had like the Dallas Zoo fiasco stuff, 3 incidents there. The escaped clouded leopard, the dead vulture. And the stolen, what do you call it?
Tamarins. Yeah.
But
tamarin.
Primate napped? Yeah.
Which those little suckers, I mean, out of all things to like snag, like what?
How do you I mean, it'd be hard to catch a tamarin.
You would think.
Yeah. And then somebody cut loose an eagle owl in New York, one of the New York City zoos.
It had to have been either a copycat or I didn't hear what happened with that one.
I just know the cops were having a lot of problems catching that owl. And then Lele dies, and then Johari dies. It's just like...
Well, you might need to explain who those are.
Lele is the panda, for anyone who doesn't know. It's not like I knew her name. But that's from Memphis. And then Johari is a rhino from Little Rock. So it's been a crappy month for some places.
And we knew Johari.
Yeah.
Just for anybody who hasn't listened yet, we were at Little Rock. Laura and I worked at Little Rock Zoo together, so we knew Johari. He was kind of like a big, like, lab
He was
puppy.
Literally a dog in a rhino body.
No, he was. He really was a dog.
But so that was really sad. But I'm also really interested to see how this whole, like, panda thing resolves because, for anybody who doesn't know, we rent our pandas from China.
Rent a panda.
We rent a panda for like give or take $1 million.
a year. Yeah. Isn't it a year?
Yeah. I believe so. And from what I heard, the contract was up this year. So she was supposed to go back.
Bum, bum, bum.
So do we have to pay a fee because she died here? And then what's the chances that balloon...
That's what I was going to say. That's why they sent the balloon to check on Lele.
Seriously, who knows?
Let's check the panda. Send the balloons. Just push it out.
Like, it's all very intriguing.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But hopefully this will give some places, like some facilities, a wake-up call for security because...
I mean, we worked in zoos a long time.
Things gotta be locked. And I know they're not. Yeah, from where I've worked too. So.
Good Lord. The people... Okay, so everybody down here that I work with now, not in a zoo, that, as soon as one of these would happen, they come to me and be like, "Oh, did you hear about?" I'm like, "Yep, we heard. Yep, already heard about it."
Yeah.
And so during this event, we had a winter storm down here, and so of course, Texas, it gets ice, and all of Texas shuts down, and so I'm on the emergency response team for all that stuff, and so I go and respond, and I'm stuck in a room with no windows, and it is like an abyss of time and life and everything else. I really do like it when stuff is happening, but like this one was completely uneventful, which is good. I'd rather be bored sometimes, but still. So anyway, and so as soon as the tamarin incident was happening during that, and so everybody's coming in there like, "Oh my gosh, they're going to catch him. There's cameras everywhere in zoos. The security is so tight." And I was like, "Guys, I hate to break it to you, but it's not." Like, everybody thinks that, like, zoos are, like lasered up at night. You know what I mean? With cameras. And you're like,
I mean, I'm glad that most people think that because surely that cuts down on the amount of, people trying.
But yeah, so zoos just have horrible security. I don't know why everybody... I mean, they have more security. It's not like they're just vacant at night.
Yeah, you cannot... Listeners, you cannot just walk into a zoo at night and take whatever you want. It's not like that. There is security.
There's security. There are keepers.
It's not Fort Knox.
Yeah, and I think that's what everybody assumes that it is. It's like a Fort Knox situation. It's like, not so much. Because I was like, how much money do you guys think zoos have? Because it's not going towards anybody's salaries. I can tell you that much. So
that's
goodness.
definitely news. But hopefully it will die down here and there won't be copycats.
Yeah. Good grief. Just a bunch of
knuckleheads
out there.
Someone will end up getting hurt because they're going to try and cut loose something crazy. The clouded leopard was already crazy enough.
Yeah. That, to me, though, I feel like the clouded leopard, for me, wouldn't be quite as bad as the tamarin. Because that thing, like, there's no way, like, if that thing wants to get pissed off and just bite you. Oh, you know what I mean? That's going to suck. Anyway. Yeah. Monkeys, man. Monkeys.
Yep.
All right. Do you want to go first on the first measurement here?
Sure. Okay. So the game plan is, for anybody who hasn't listened to our Could You episodes, we take turns going back and forth.
Did we say it was a Could You measure?
I mean, we will in the title.
Okay. Well, it's Could You Measure That? That's what we're calling this.
We're going to say, could you measure that? Or could you measure using this?
That.
Yeah, using
could you
that.
Measure, yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, so we chose different types of measurement dealing with nature in some way, and they're definitely going to need some explanation.
Like sayings, because mine are all sayings.
Yeah, like a lot of them are. I guess I didn't know these sayings are they're called idioms.
Yeah.
So, idioms. One of mine is not an idiom. It's actually a term, but the other ones are idioms. So let's start with the actual term, and that's donkey power. Donkey power is a real thing, guys. No, you did not. Do you have donkey power?
I don't have donkey.
Okay.
All the listeners are gonna be like, "Wait, what?" No, we're trying to figure out if I had a duplicate. I did not. My brain is just
spinning.
It's sinking, and it's just where all the different places we can go with this.
Donkey power.
Donkey power.
So, we've all probably heard of horsepower, but probably not donkey power.
No.
So the term horsepower, because it starts here. Okay, so horsepower was a term coined by the Scottish engineer and inventor James Watt, which you guys might know from wattage, like how powerful something is. So he figured out the power of steam technology by watching a horse turn a mill wheel over time, calculated that out, extrapolated it, and was like, that's horsepower. So 1 horsepower is 746 watts. Basically, so it's important to keep in mind that his original calculation put the power of machines into terms people could understand at the time. Because this is back in the 1800s. So before then, it was just horses doing everything, or ox, or whatever.
So they're like, bring in the donkeys.
Yeah.
Donkey.
Well, so then he brings out something like a steam engine, and everyone's like, well, how? Like, he needed to convince people to buy his stuff. And so he needed to say that it could do more than their horse could. Okay? So... essentially,
just like my money is on the donkey.
Well, so he would say like this machine is 10 horsepower, and that doesn't mean in one go like I always thought it did. A horsepower is the equivalent of the energy that one horse would need to complete a full day's worth of work.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so something that's 10 horsepower would take 10 horses to do it over one day.
Interesting. Okay.
So everyone was like, whoa, that is way more. One horse can actually create more than 1 horsepower. It could do 15 in one go. It just can't sustain that. So 1 horsepower, one day. Anyway, I wish I knew exactly who, but back in the 1880s, around a little bit after that time, some jokester engineers coined the term donkey power to discuss less powerful machines. It was just the article said they were being facetious. So just being dumb. They were like, horsepower. Nope, that doesn't seem accurate for something like this sewing machine. Donkey power.
Donkey power, yeah.
So how much less powerful? 1/3. Okay, so donkey power is 1/3 horsepower. So it's actually equal to 250 watts. But this is just a random determination. So now I'm going to take this literally, okay? So if donkey power is a thing, and it's 1/3 of horsepower, I don't know how they came up with that number, because it is not based on what a donkey can really generate.
Yeah.
Because it also really depends on the donkey or horse we're talking about. Because donkeys can range in size from 26 inches, little mini guys, to what they call mammoth donkeys, which are 56 inches tall. Okay.
Mammoth donkeys.
In comparison, horses can be 26 inches tall, as miniature horses, to 76 inches tall. So, I mean, like, if you're talking miniature horsepower or mammoth donkey power, like, it's definitely going to be really different. But, I mean, I guess if you immediately think of donkey power, I don't know about you. When I say a donkey, what's the animal that comes to your head?
Well, when you say donkey power, I'm like Donkey Kong. Like, but
donkey power.
Yeah. But
the animal donkey.
I don't know.
Mine is always like the little Sicilian, like the black cross on the back, gray, tiny.
Yeah, like
donkeys.
like the smaller ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So in that case, then sure, I'll accept the 1/3 horsepower.
Accept the 1/3.
But even now, engineers and like physics people have. I mean, it's not an accurate. It is not one horse.
Wait,
it's
you're
just not
telling me that
thing.
Donkey power is not an accurate unit of measurement? This is riveting.
It is, but even horsepower is not.
You've heard it here first, folks. Donkey power is not a thing.
Well, there's like all these memes that go around these days where it's like a guy. Have you ever seen the meme where it's a guy slapping the hood of a car?
Oh, yeah.
And they say like, this baby has 833 llama power, or something like that. So yeah, no, donkey power. It's not just a thing that somebody on Urban Dictionary made up. It's somebody back in the 1880s would have put on Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
But
so they made it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more legitimate since it's older.
I guess. If you want to say that, sure.
All right, well, what's yours?
All right, my first one is as slow as a snail.
Okay.
Hear me out.
A lot of people do say that.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of people say that. So snails, of course, they're
slow.
Slow, slimy. Well, not as slow as you think. Okay. But they're part of the gastropod family. They're characterized by their coiled shell, slimy bodies, and slow movement. They are found in a wide range of environments, anywhere from deserts to forests, and even
desert snails. That's crazy.
Yeah. Like you can find ones, especially like around like Southwest.
I just thought they would need more water. Because they dry out.
They do, but I don't think.
But maybe their shell protects them enough.
Yeah. I didn't look up the exact species.
I was just curious. Sorry, keep going.
We'll look it up.
Getting hung up on the snails rather than their speed.
Right. So anyway, most snails are herbivores, but I also didn't know that there are some species of snails that will be carnivores if
that's terrifying.
Like provided the opportunity, which that's
so what a slow death.
Yeah, right. You just
with
keep,
that horrific tongue.
But you also keep like batting it away, and then just keeps coming back for like another munch. You like hit it away, and then it just comes slowly back.
You look down, and it's like, I crave flesh with its little stalk eyes. Yeah, just all tweaky.
Well, that's a snail.
Thanks.
So saying
for anyone not from this earth,
right? The saying "as slow as a snail." It's been used for centuries, actually. There again, a lot of mine. I don't think I could find an exact origin of any of mine.
Wow, they must be just that old. I mean, right?
Well,
yeah, probably a lot of places at once. You know what I mean?
Yes, a lot of places.
It's a snail.
Yeah.
If you're going to describe something slow, you look around and you're like, that thing.
Yeah, and so then, and because it's like so many different iterations of it across different cultures and everything, it's like, where did this actually first, because they might say, oh, as slow as a snail, but then this other culture said this other thing for, you know what I mean? And so then it just keeps going on and on. Anyway, but of course, somebody first started saying it, and they started... Obviously, snails are not known for their speed, and their movement is often associated with laziness and lack of urgencies. And in some cultures, the snail has even come to symbolize slowness and procrastination, which I mean, like, yeah, it's a snail. The phrase is used to describe someone or something that moves at a very slow pace, whether it be a person, animal, or even a process. All right, so despite the reputation for slowness, though, snails are actually capable of moving faster than one might expect.
what my expectations are really low.
How many meters per hour?
Miles per hour? Okay, I was gonna say.
Meters per hour.
Meters per hour. A meter is 3 feet, right?
Yeah.
4 meters per hour.
They can actually go 1 meter per hour.
Oh, okay. So my expectations were even higher. I don't know.
Yeah. I was like, that's
3 feet per hour? I thought
3
they
feet
could go
an
faster,
hour.
maybe. But
yeah. And I think, too, that would...
How motivated is this snail?
Right? Not motivated enough, clearly.
Yeah.
But some species, though, can reach up to like 50 meters per hour when in a very, very hurry. But
Whoa! When in a hurry?
Listen,
their house is on fire. Somewhere else.
Well, you said their house is on fire. I'm like, their shell's on fire. But, and okay. So listen, I didn't believe that. I found that number. And like
50 meters per hour, that is absurd.
In several places,
150 feet a minute.
An hour.
Wow.
But to me, okay, and I found that in multiple sources. I feel like though 50 meters, there has to be like some rolling involved. Like there's got to be a hill, like there's got to be some tuck and rolls.
He's hitchhiking. Drugs are involved,
right?
Enhancing
steroids and
injections.
And just going.
Cheat! That snail's a cheat.
What's that snail movie? Turbo. Yeah. I mean, but anyway, I found that on like multiple different sources.
Wow. I'd like to see it. I want to see a snail in a hurry.
I want to see a snail in a hurry.
I want it to be so apparent that I'm like, wow, that snail's in a hurry.
Yeah. Well, and so while we're talking about speed though, to a garden snail though, although it is moving very, very slow, to them, okay, so let's just say...
I was hoping you were going to bring this up, like the relativity.
So a garden snail, let's just say it would be like 0.1 kilometers per hour, all right? Because, 3 meters per hour is just too small. To a snail, though, if it's 0.1 to what we're looking at, to them, it's 2.7 kilometers per hour.
Whoa.
So it's significantly faster. So to them, they're like...
you pick up a snail and you start walking with it and it's like, ah! Scream too loud.
I can't handle it. So to give kind of like a perspective of what an animal that I think everybody else could maybe relate to a little bit easier, a squirrel's top speed is 20 kilometers per hour. Hold on, let me see if I can switch this.
Well, the rest of the world is like, yes, and all of us Americans are like, what?
The fuck? Yeah. Okay, so to a eastern gray squirrel, yeah, which hold on, I will give them in both because we actually are in 68 different countries right now.
Yeah.
So I should.
We have very regular listeners in Norway and Australia.
Yeah. All right. So the top speed of a gray squirrel is 20 kilometers per hour, which is about 12.4 miles per hour.
Okay.
All right. So to the squirrel, the 12.4 miles an hour feels like 79.9 miles an hour.
That is outrageous.
Or 128.6 kilometers per hour.
I mean, driving 80 on the highway does feel like I'm flying. And I can imagine doing that through the trees.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll say in Texas, 80 is the standard speed limit, regardless of where you go. Yeah. Doesn't matter if you're downtown. It doesn't matter if you're where you are. Nobody cares. But yeah, so just relative. So for the garden snail, it feels like it's speeding. So for the garden snail,
it's cruising
in miles per hour. They couldn't even give a number. It just says 0 miles per hour, which is not dead. Yeah. So it's got to be at least point something. But anyway, so it's about like almost like about double, a little over double the speed that this snail actually feels like it's going. So.
Yeah. Cool.
And if anybody doesn't know, go to that website. It's speedofanimals.com. It is just so funny.
Or fun to be out and mess around. Like, how fast does this animal feel like it's going?
Yeah, it is really fun. So, all right. So that is as slow as a snail.
As slow as a snail. You're going a snail's pace.
Yep.
Okay. Mine is finer than a frog's hair. To be finer than a frog's hair.
I don't know if I've actually heard that one.
I don't know. I don't think I have either, but I liked it when I found it. And it was like, it's a great Southern idiom. Well, I mean, I guess you gotta say it in a Southern way. Finer than frog's hair. This phrase was first printed in a Confederate soldier's diary in 1865. He said, "I have a better flow of spirits this morning, and in fact, feel as fine as frog's hair."
All right.
I love it. I love it. Finer than frog's hair. So this phrase, what it actually means is to be very, very fine. Very okay. You're so okay. Which makes sense because, well, kind of. Because frogs are amphibians, and amphibians do not have hair or fur. So it's non-existent. So to be finer than frog's hair is to be so good, it's non-existent. I guess. I mean, it's a weird Southern idiom. So, like, it doesn't make sense, you know, maybe, not really. But it's fun to say, finer than frog's hair. So next time, you know, you guys are feeling sick and then you go back to work or go back to school and somebody's like, how are you feeling? Just say finer than frog's hair. See if anybody even knows what you're talking about.
Which nobody will. So.
That was a short one, but I liked it.
Yeah. All right. My next one is as short as a hop, skip, and a jump.
Oh. I also have never heard it phrased that way. I've heard
Really?
It's just a hop, skip, and a jump is what I've heard.
As short as I think I've always heard it as short as a hop, skip, and a jump. Yeah, interesting.
I'm sure it's different all over the country.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like depending on where it is and who you heard it from. So yeah, this is another one that was kind of like from a little bit of everywhere and anywhere because again, any able-bodied person, hop, skip, jump, pretty short. Throughout history, of course, humans have pushed the limits of what is possible in terms of hopping, skipping, and jumping. So I couldn't find any world record skippers. I'd
like to set that. Laura loves when I skip. I do it with her in my arms and I go skip, skip, and then she just starts giggling.
Okay, yeah, because everything I found. Okay, so there's one that skips over a rope.
No, that's a different kind of skip.
Yeah, that's a skip. What is the
although that's maybe what they mean. If you're talking about hopping and jumping, like maybe it's hop, skip, skipping rope.
Maybe. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way. Because I thought of like skipping.
Me too.
But everything, if you say skip, the most skips over a human skipping rope. That's such a
human
weird
skipping rope.
That's how Guinness Book of World Records says.
Just taking somebody's body and swinging them around.
Yeah, is 57 in 1 minute.
Whoa,
that's really okay. Pause. Is that human skipping rope? Because if that person is flying, most skips over a human. There's no picture.
What? Yeah. What does that mean? You're just jumping over a person as many times as possible. Also, how is that a record? Somebody, come on, guys. Like, everybody can set a record, but, like, just jumping over a person?
Unless they're using it as a jump rope, like you said.
Then yes. But if they're just laying on the ground and you're hopping over them, no.
It says the most skips over a human skipping rope in 1 minute.
You hop, skip, and a jump in place over a jump rope. That is a much shorter distance than what I was thinking, because I was about to say, I actually don't think it's that short of a distance if you are hopping, skipping, and then jumping.
No, I think that it means, hold on, let's look this up here.
Figuring it out on the go, guys, just processing it.
Well, because everything that I found, like, it did talk about how you and I were thinking it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, because all of mine are like hundreds of years old.
Well, right. I mean, how Lost in Translation has this saying become to a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah,
but if you're talking about a short distance, how short is that? Because a hop is short. A jump might be short, but a hop, skip, and a jump, that's excessive.
So, and it depends on who it is too. Because, for instance, like the long jump world record is currently held by Mike Pyle, who jumped 8.95 meters. In 91.
What? 16 feet in one go? My gosh. That's crazy. That's 2 stories.
Yeah. I think that's a little excessive for jumping.
Like, did he stick it? Did he stick the landing?
Yeah,
I don't
you
know
have to. For it,
okay,
yeah,
I
for it
didn't know
to,
what the rules
yeah,
were.
Yeah. For it to be like a thing.
Yeah, stick it.
Yeah.
Wowzer.
Yeah. So I mean, and that is pretty far. Yeah. Dang. Now I don't know if it is like maybe it is like a hop, skip, and a jump. If it's like over a rope.
And they're going really fast, like they're doing it like as a rhyme or whatever. Like.
And I'm not. Yeah, because this one it was hard to find because there's tons of sources if you just type it in like the saying and a lot of these were difficult to find
like origin stuff
like origin stuff on because it has gone around so much but yeah, I've never thought of it that way until we just put in skip, and skip is another thing for like jumping rope.
Yeah, never have I thought of it that way either.
Well, that's
what do you guys
a hop,
think?
skip,
Let
and
us
a dump.
know.
Yeah, that's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Hop, skip, and a dump. Yeah, that's what you just said.
Jump.
Well, that's a hop, skip, and a dump.
That is some talent, folks.
Hop, skip, and a dump. That's what I always feel like is going to happen after I jump rope too much.
Hop, skip, and a dump.
Gotta clench. All right. Speaking of a dump, no, I mean not only vaguely, because people. It's about like portion, like so.
I'm so excited where this is going.
My next one is the lion's share.
Okay.
So not related to poo, but related to size.
I was like, dump? How do you get to dump?
Well, like they say, like how much poop,
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, I don't know. That's where my brain was going, guys. So, the lion's share is a phrase that is based on Aesop's fable of the same name. There's a Aesop's fable called the lion's share. Side note, did you know that Aesop, okay, I don't know why I didn't know this or like my brain forgot it, but that Aesop, however you say it, was a Greek slave. Like, all these stories are attributed to this specific Greek slave. I don't know. I did not know that. I thought it was much more recent and just not that.
Interesting.
But anyway, so in the story, the lion's share, basically what happens is that a lion convinces a whole bunch of other animals to help him hunt. And they're all successful. And all the animals are like, cool, let's all share. And the lion keeps coming up with all sorts of excuses and reasons why he should get their portions, and then just does. So he just eats all of their stuff. And so the moral of the story is supposed to be to not trust partnerships with those who are more powerful than you. Because they will always cheat you, apparently. It's a very cynical story.
Yeah,
Don't trust people in power because they'll take your stuff.
I mean,
go ahead.
I was gonna say my experience has been it's definitely person to person. There are a lot of very powerful people.
Can be. Yeah,
and there are a lot of very powerful people that they're out for themselves. I've worked for several. That they don't care. Like when push comes to shove, they will throw you under a bus in a heartbeat if it means saving their ass.
Throw you to the lions, even.
Yeah, throw you to the lions. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But then I've met some phenomenal leaders that they will jump in front of that bus way before you do. Like they are going to make sure that you are nowhere near that accident scene.
Yeah, get your portion, and you'll get your full portion. So the actual phrase, like to us today, means to get the largest share or portion of something. Like if you get the lion's share of the work, you get the largest portion. That's a negative way. If you get the lion's share of the reward, it means you get the majority of the reward. So, like, I think most people, though, think of it as a positive thing. Like, you're getting the lion's share. You're getting the most. And I kind of feel like that is not at all the point the story was trying to make. Because in the story, the lion was the bad guy, and you shouldn't want to be the lion.
Yeah, you don't want to
be everyone wants to be the lion because it means you get the biggest piece of cake. Everyone wants to be the lion. So just to, take this to the science part, how much is a lion's share? Okay. So the average male lion can eat up to 95 pounds of food in a single day.
Jeez.
And females 55 pounds. So that is a giant portion.
Yeah.
Definitely more, like, I can eat a lot of food, but nowhere close to the lion's share.
What would be the comparison
of like how much? Hold on, I'll look it up real quick. So you were wondering how much that is compared to a person. It seems like the record for how much somebody has eaten basically in like one sitting is 100-ish kilograms of food, aka 76 hot dogs. But the 10-minute record will never, they don't think it's actually possible for humans to eat more than 84 hot dogs in one sitting.
That's
the limit, guys. That's the limit.
It's still 84. Hot dogs. It's gotta be, it's just gross either way. Alrighty. Well, mine, yeah, that's great. As we're both like, alrighty. So my next one is As Far as the Eye Can See. And I feel like I really slacked on the history finding of mine anyway, because once again, if you just
it's
Google,
old. No.
I mean, it's just, that's everything I found was just like, it's just old. So a little bit about an eyeball. I mean, just so in case everybody, I mean, okay. To be fair, I almost said in case anybody skipped like second grade science, but to be fair, there is so much
you don't remember from second grade science.
Remember. Yeah. Anyway, so your eyeball or anybody's eyeball works by collecting light and focusing it into retina, which contains the photoreceptor cells that translate the light into electrical signals that are then sent to the brain. And that obviously that process allows us to see a wide range of colors, shapes, and movements. And our eyes are, of course, protected by our eyelids, which help to keep it moist from debris. And there's other animals like that have the nictitating membrane. And so there's all kinds of different eyes out there. So as far as the saying, as far as the eye can see.
That is so subjective. It's the most subjective. I can't even imagine a more subjective phrase.
Yep. And that's basically what I found was that everybody that was picking it apart was like, okay, so who was the first person to say that as far as the eye can see? Because it all depends on where you are.
Right, the topography.
The topography of it.
Your actual eyeballs.
Eyeballs, the weather, everything. Like, there's so much.
It's very much like, it reminds me of, like, The Lion King. Wherever
the light touches,
where you can see from Pride Rock.
Well, so under absolute ideal conditions, the human eye can actually see a fairly good distance.
Yeah.
And we can, for the most part, we can detect things up to 20 miles away. Wow. Now, whenever you're in a huge overreach, like you can definitely see farther than that.
It's just not detail.
It's not detailed and your brain's not making it up. So the 20 miles away thing is like, that's what I was finding is kind of the limit to where you can actually see that it is something. Like you could kind of make like that something. If there was a
mountain 20 miles away, you could see something.
Yeah, you could make out something. In detail.
Point.
Like be able to tell what it is. And
that's of course, pretty far.
Yeah. No, it is pretty far. Obviously there are things that have much better eyesight than humans. Hawks, birds of prey. We know Laura and I, God, how many times do we
talk about it?
Birds of prey eyesight. But yeah, so they have some of the best eyes out there, birds of prey. But then there's a variety of other ones. For example, fish. There's tons of different fish species and a bunch of different animals that have 360-degree vision.
Wow. And a lot of insects and spiders.
Yep. And one of the coolest ones is definitely the mantis shrimp. Which have ability to see the multiple wavelengths of light, including ultraviolet and polarized light. Yeah. So as far as the eye can see...
Totally depends.
Not only on the species.
Species, topography, eyesight, light, weather, like...
Everything.
Don't even bother using that phrase, guys.
No, not anymore.
At least finer than frog's hair, nobody expects it to make sense.
Yeah. But as far as the eye can see, like, everybody said, as far as it's out as far as the eye can see, or it's beautiful, Yeah. The fields
How far is that?
Yeah,
what are we talking about?
As far as the eye can see. Okay, well, that's, are you a mantis shrimp? Or, or are you a
20/20 vision?
Yeah. Start asking them all. What's your family history? Do you have glaucoma in your history? Like, what's the downfall going to be here? Man.
Need specifics.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was, I think out of all of mine, that was, like, the one that I was like, I've heard the most for sure. But then secondly, when I actually thought about it. I was like,
makes no sense.
It's pointless. Well,
it's pointless.
Yeah, it's
yes.
pointless. It's pointless. It's not that, like, the frog one, like you said, that's the one that makes no sense. This is just pointless. Like,
yeah, don't even say it.
Yeah, just
or use
stop
a different
saying
unit of measurement, please.
Yeah. As far as a
rat can swim.
Well, that's my next one.
Yeah.
It is. No, it is.
I made that one up. At least I think we made that.
We didn't make it up. Yeah.
That's a real saying? Okay, well, it seemed original. I never have anything original.
It seemed original.
All right, well, my last one is a unit of height or age. It can be either one.
Okay.
And it is knee-high to a grasshopper.
Oh, very
Which
nice.
I just think is such a cute saying. Oh, look, she's no more than knee-high to a grasshopper.
You really did go southern with these.
It's just so funny. So this phrase was first printed in a journal in 1851. The phrase is, I think it was something to do with, like, politics, but it just says, here's the phrase. You pretend to be my daddies. Some of you... I'm assuming they meant truly fathers. You pretend to be my daddies. Some of you who are not knee-high to a grasshopper with an exclamation point. So I'm assuming this was like a sick burn of being like, you're acting like my dad, you're barely knee-high to a grasshopper. Which can either mean you're very small, very young, or both.
Huh.
So interestingly, this phrase replaced earlier versions, which may or may not be better, but this is the one that has lasted centuries. The longest. Okay, so this was in 1851, this one. But before that, the first one was in, like, 1814, was knee-high to a toad. So to be knee-high to a toad. Then knee-high to a mosquito. Then knee-high to a bumblebee, which is cute.
That one's cute.
And then finally knee-high to a grasshopper. And for some reason, that's the one that stuck. So I wonder why. Like, do more people know what grasshoppers are? Are their knees more apparent?
That's what I was just going to say. I think it's because they have such distinguished
knees. My gosh, we just made some grasshopper's day. My goodness, sir, you have some distinguished knees. I would never describe it like that. I would say apparent, but distinguished? I hope one day anyone describes any of my body parts as distinguished. Like, I want distinguished kneecaps. What a ridiculous thing to say. But so cute.
Okay, so I had to look up the definition of distinguished just to make it funnier. So it's successful, authoritative, and commanding great respect.
Commanding great respect. My God, grasshopper, you have some distinguished knees. Like, they command respect. Again, if only anyone will describe any part of my body as being distinguished, I would be happy.
Oh, goodness. A friend of mine, he does listen to these podcasts, he's going to laugh because I tell the story to him all the time, or I told him this story to him as it was happening. And I went out on a date with a guy, and listen, it's gonna be good.
He complimented your kneecaps?
No, he had, like, no shins. And okay, so you know how, like, I've always said, like, with guys and stuff, there's always, like, if there's, like, a little thing that bugs me, like, right from the get-go, I'm like, nope, cut it off. Because, like, if it annoys me from the get-go, just no. It was like, you know how you have your shin bone, and then you have the muscle right there?
Yeah.
There was, like, no shin. And so now my friend and I are always like, it's shinless. And so...
Shinless.
I mean, I don't know
That's
if it would be
weird.
Commanding respect, but, I mean, it's absenteeism of a shin.
No, that's weird. Distinguished knees. So I did find one article, because I'm like, okay, well, how high is this? And, like, young, because obviously when you're young, you're short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but to be short, how short is a grasshopper's knee? Depends on the species of grasshopper. But one species has a back leg that's 45 millimeters long. So the knee would be about 25 millimeters up the leg. So, you know, pretty short, 25 millimeters.
Yeah, right.
Knee high to a grasshopper. I really wish that one would come back. and be used more. I just want to say at work, all the little pre-K kids who come in, oh, they're barely knee-high to a grasshopper.
I mean, you could. If it's going to come back, somebody's got to start it, so it might as well be you.
That's true.
So, be the change you want to see in the world, Laura.
I thought I was with the rat can swim.
Well, apparently that is not necessarily a saying, but it is a saying. It's not like a coined idiom, I should say.
Okay, good. Because that so we could coin it.
Yeah, we can still kind of coin it. Yeah,
because that was definitely we were like, how far can it? It's further than a rat. Right. It's further than a rat can swim.
Yeah. Which was great. I don't even remember what was that up. That was
something with the island. It's something
New Zealand.
Yeah,
was the birds?
Cockapos.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was, but
they had to transfer them to islands to keep them from getting eaten by rats.
Yeah. Well, rats, they're incredibly adaptable, and they live in a wide range of environments. And I think they kind of get a bad rap because you see them as city and they're gross and they're not
some
all
of them
rats.
are, but
as far as rats around the world are concerned, they're not all gross, dingy, street dwelling, right? Gutter rats.
Yeah. Remember we had the landmine rats that in one of our episodes who literally help diffuse landmines.
Yeah, saving lives, literal saving live rats.
Yeah.
So anyway, they were saying that the saying is often used to describe a task or a goal that is achievable, but not particularly impressive or challenging. So it's just it's kind of as people were saying, using it as far as a rat can swim, just kind of because they can swim. So it's
not a distance measurement. It's a difficulty measurement.
Yeah, more of a difficulty measurement. But despite of their, poor reputation, rats are actually really good swimmers. They are. So they're able to swim long distances and even hold their breath underwater for several minutes if needed.
Wow.
To escape predators and things like that. There was a research that was done that showed that when they were... I'll have to find the article again. It was actually really funny because it said in the ideal water conditions, it was can't be too hot, can't be too cold. It was the perfect water conditions.
And baby bath water.
Yeah,
rats
baby bath
can
water.
swim. Yeah.
For 40 to 60 hours straight.
That's been crazy.
Isn't that crazy? That's a crazy
That's some stamina.
Long time. No, it is. And so then I was going back to saying okay, to us that's a lot. To a rat, 40 to 60 hours is meh, whatever kind of thing.
How long can a person swim?
Not that long.
Yeah, I wonder how long.
I mean, you could float, but
but actively swimming. Yeah.
Out here floating. I don't know. My sister-in-law, who was my best friend in college, she does those Ironmans now.
Yeah.
And all I remember is watching watching her time as she was doing her last Ironman as she was doing the swim, because that's the first part of it. And what is it, over 2 miles or something? And I'm just the whole time I'm this is just ridiculous as she's swimming further and further. I'm I told my brother, I was the running, maybe I can do. The cycling, I know I can do that. The swimming, because that's the first thing, I couldn't do an Ironman because I would drown.
Me too.
Give me 50 feet and then I'm a goner. Okay, I'm not 50 feet, but still, I wouldn't make it very far. But anyway, so further than a rat can swim. Apparently people do say it, but it is more of a difficulty than
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's not really a idiom. I don't know how to describe it. It's not really an idiom per se, but people do use it.
Interesting. Well, hopefully people use some of these sayings more often, bring some of these back or keep using them, because some of them, the snails, slow as a snail is pretty common still.
Yeah. We just need people to start saying more often as far as a rat can swim.
Yeah.
So... it's just absolutely something that is normal and unimpressive.
Just dropping it in casual conversation.
Yeah. Or distinguished knees. Somebody please out there, if you're listening, you see Laura next time, please
tell me that I've got distinguished knees.
Or anything.
Or elbows.
Distinguish anything. Elbows. You have such distinguished
elbows. Why, thank you.
What is that from? That's like, are you a distinguished gentleman? What is that from?
Yeah, that's it's like that basic, like the sound meme of the, like every time you see a cat sit, he's such a distinguished gentleman. Look at him sit. Yeah.
All right, so that is everything. Go ahead and let us know if there's a saying or idiom that I don't know, that's your favorite that you like to use.
Tickles your fancy.
Whatever tickles your fancy, let us know. And if you have distinguished knees, no, don't let us know that. But go ahead and tweet your knees on Twitter, follow us, and go ahead and check us out on Patreon for the love of nature and support us there. It's a huge help.
Yes, definitely. And join us next week, because now you might know more than you wanted to know. Your curiosity should be piqued, and hopefully you'll care just a little bit more. See you next week.
Bye.